Hi traders, welcome to Elite Currency. My name is Chris and today's video is on the Forex market. What kind of analysis and trade setups are there out there for the second part of this week? Alright, let's kick off this video with the dollar yen daily chart. You can see prices approaching the 108.50 support levels and prices already used that a couple of times. So this support level might break, and if it does, break, pull back, continue down to 107.50 and then 105 probably would make sense back to this support trend line of the bigger triangle. However, price could also bounce. Let's take a look at that on the 4-hour chart, and you can see that the price is actually approaching an 88.6 fib, actually bouncing a bit off that 88.6 fib. So definitely an interesting decision zone at this point. Which way it will break or move, I have a slight favorite for the bullish bounce. But ultimately, if price does break below the bottom, right, at 108.26, then that's invalidated. For the moment, price is reacting to the 88.6 fib. But for me to trade it, of course, fib traders might be trading this. But I think a better approach is if on a lower time frame, even a 15-minute chart, right, something like that, looking for a 5-wave pattern up to this resistance trend line, which then should hold, and we should see an ABC pattern. And I think then if that kind of formation, if this pattern occurs, that there's a good chance of one more leg up. I think in that case, price is responding, not only bouncing at 88.6 fib, but then I think that there is actually a good chance of a higher continuation, because price might bounce at the 88.6 fib, make a bear flag, and then continue lower. Of course, that could also be a way of trading it if it does make a bear flag. So I want to see how price responds to this support level. Is it going to be an impulse or correction? If it is an impulse, as I said, I want to see also a 5-wave pattern and then the ABC back, and I would put a fib from this bottom to this top, look for a 50, 61.8, look for maybe some candlestick patterns there, or just take it right there and look for a breakout to the upside. And the break, of course, could also be something to trade as well, potentially. So that's kind of the thoughts I'm looking at for the dollar yen at the moment. And of course, if it breaks this resistance trend line, eventually like this, there could be this rally back to the top of this zone. On the 4-hour chart, you can see that a bit better. You can see a break pullback continue to the top of this zone, and that will be another decision spot for a move down or even a bigger move up. Of course, that's further down the line. We'll talk about that next week. Euro dollar is in a triangle at the moment, folks, and I think that it's really a big indecision zone at this point. I think that the downside break would be neat, because I see this as momentum despite the larger uptrend, and this is correction. So from this pattern point of view, and patterns are very important, I would say probably the most important part of trading. Support, resistance, and trends are important too, but patterns are really where we get the extra information about how price will respond at support or resistance, how trends will last or stop, etc. So I think from this perspective, a break, pullback, continue below these trend lines, and the price levels, what it's about, key levels 118.75 probably, and I would put a fib from here to here, and the target would be 117.50, and it could extend, of course, further as price breaks through these targets as well. Now, if price does make an upside, I think it could be limited to 120, 120.25. You got fibs here. I think those still count, and those could still be resistance levels. It does also depend how price breaks. If there are good, strong candles, and then bull flags, yes, upside continuation is possible too. So a bit of indecision on the euro dollar. We have to see how price responds to this triangle. Pound dollar neatly broke this resistance trend line. You can see that a bit better on the hourly chart. Good breakout candle here. Look at that close near the high. That is definitely a good candle to take upon the break. You can see a good channel, a good correction, resistance trend line, good candle above it. And I believe that SWAT traders were taking that trade nicely to the upside. So on a 4-hour chart, you can see this channel is still active, and price did break a bit above that 50 fib, which means that I think that the 38 was roughly respected. Of course, the 50 could be respected too still, but it looks more like, if I look at the 15-minute chart, that this is a wave 4 pattern, and I therefore think, look at sideways move, and I therefore think a small little push up, let me go to the 4-hour chart, of a few pips still, 50 to 70, to hit this 61.8, and I think that could be a bouncing spot, all right? That could be a spot where price is at the top of the channel. 61.8 fib is strong resistance spot because this is a momentum leg. Therefore, I would expect this fib to act. You can also see that this could be an easy ABC pattern, easily, right? That's what I meant. So that kind of adding one more factor to why this could be a turning spot. And if we zoom out to the daily chart, you can basically see, right, that this could also be, it's a big one, but yeah, on the daily chart, it might be, yes, a head and shoulders reversal chart pattern. So I think that considering yesterday's strong daily candle, that upside is still likely, because this daily candle will not reverse, I think, just like that. It's going to break yesterday's high. I do think that, but I think the upside is limited. It could go to the 78.6 fib, but I would not. I would need to see basically a correction at the 61.8, some kind of bull flag, and then probably break, pullback, continue to that before I trade it from here to here. Otherwise, I think that the 61.8 fib is a strong resistance spot. And we go back to the 4-hour chart, pound dollar once again, and head and shoulders. And I think that this could be at least a move down to the bottom of the channel. And if it breaks the channel, of course, a move down to retest this bottom, and then perhaps to the target as well. Aussie, I'm going to be very short, folks. This week is important for the Aussie. If it doesn't break this high, then the Aussie might correct further like this. At this moment, I'm going to sit on the sidelines, to be very honest. I think it's choppy, and I want to see. I just don't think that the structure is interesting to trade at this moment. Kiwi could be a bit better. The Kiwi weakness didn't happen. I was talking about the potential weakness if price breaks through the support level. If it did, it had nice space according to Wiz, my tool I use for indicating where the trend could accelerate. It didn't break, and it bounced instead, and it was a little bit of a triangle. Counter trend break may be tradable for some of you. I didn't personally, but definitely some counter trend traders would think about that. Now it's at the resistance spot. You got the long-term moving average, you got a channel, so I'm leaning more towards a bounce here on the Kiwi, to be honest. Now the pound has a little bit of upside left. Pound looks choppy, so the Kiwi might not do much until the pound hits the 61.8 fib. But this could be a hook back for one more move down like this. Something maybe to think about, as a bounce trade. If it does break, of course it could be a breakout to the upside. Might want to think about seeing if there's a good break pullback, kind of a bull flag pattern, and continue. But for the moment, I think it's more of a bouncing spot. Dollar CAD, I did take the short in here, and I'm still in it, break even at the moment, trying to see if I could reach the target. I have a target. This is a different account, by the way, that I have this trade on, and you can see the target, I think, was 122.50 if I remember correctly. That's where I have it. So let's see if it continues. This could still be an interesting spot if it maybe on the lower time frame breaks. Let's see. There's not a good trend line perhaps, but I would probably need to see a new momentum and new bear flag before trading it on lower time frames on the dollar CAD. Let's move over to gold. Gold is in a bit of a resistance zone. I mean, on the lower time frame, yes, it could accelerate still a little bit. I'm not saying that the hourly chart cannot move up a bit, but all in all, this could be a zone where price might make a pause. I think the structure is bullish, and there could be a break actually, but realize that this is the first time price is approaching this zone. So I think that caution for the moment is probably better with regard to this zone. I think it's going to be a tough zone for longs. I don't think there's going to be a big bounce either. So I'm just sitting on the sidelines like with the Aussie. The Euro Yen, I think, is in a pretty good channel. So I would like to see it go back to the top of the channel and look for candlestick patterns at this channel, at the top of the channel, I should say. Around 130, I think could be good. Looking for candlestick patterns to confirm that bounce might make sense there, right? Pound yen in a triangle, very indecisive. I think that the break might be limited because price is so choppy that if it does break, it could go back fast to this area. So be careful of the breakout on the pound yen. It seems a bit wishy-washy in a way. It's not that great of a pattern at this moment. I mean, ultimately, what I would be looking for probably, the trick and tip I use with these patterns is if it does break, look at the lower time frame. So this is an hourly chart, so I would then zoom to the 15-minute chart, look at the break, and look if there's a 15-minute pattern, and then take that break, because then the chance of price moving, getting sucked back into that range is less. If we have a pattern after the pattern on a lower time frame, the risk of price making a false break is less, maybe even a lot less. So I would be looking for a pull, right? Momentum, a bull flag, or some kind of flat or triangle, and on this 15-minute chart, if it does break. All right, Euro New Zealand, we didn't get the upside. We actually got a head and shoulders, and anyone taking this breakout candle, we got momentum here, bear flag, bull flag, and then continue, did well. Great job on that reversal trade. If you're not a reversal trader, no problem, of course. But ultimately, I think it's still an uptrend because look at the moving averages on the 4-hour chart, all nicely aligned, and price has hit the minus 61.8 target, oh, even further than that. Now it's already bouncing, in fact, so I would probably take a look at the 15-minute chart, and I would probably wait for this momentum to finish and wait for a new pattern, right? If you're trading it down in here, that's great, like the weakness, trading the bounce pullback, that's great, or even this first break. Now I think it's a bit late because we're approaching moving average here. I would probably wait for, see how far this gets and see if we get a new flag. So all in all, Euro New Zealand, wait for a flag, pound yen, wait for a flag, Euro yen, wait for a bounce at resistance channel. Of course it could break, but bounce or break, basically looking slightly more for a bounce probably on the Euro yen, to be honest here, as I already mentioned. Moving on, dollar CAD could still have some space left, right, to 122.50. So break, pull back, continue. Kiwi, if it makes a little bit of push up here, it could still be good for space down here. Aussie, I'm skipping. Pound dollar, 61.8 fib could be important bouncing spot. Euro dollar looking for the break of the triangle, and dollar yen, as I said, looking for internal 5-wave pattern on a lower time frame, pullback, and then a break up to the top here. Okay, traders, thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate that. More free material, of course, and our analysis can be found on elitecurrency.com. Thanks for joining, and wish you all great trading. Cheers.